Creating your brand. Once you know your niche and your target audience, you should be starting to get a feel for what your blog is. This is what will now motivate your brand. A brand is not just a logo. Your logo is part of this, but what's more important is the mission statement behind that logo. In other words, you need to know what it is that your blog is doing for people, what kinds of people will read your content, and how you plan to bring value to the world. I highly recommend you to check out Simon Sinek's excellent TED Talk on the Golden Circle. Here, he explains that what makes a successful brand is not what it does or how it does it, but why it does it. What is the philosophy behind your blog? And more specifically, what kind of lifestyle are you trying to promote? In the case of your bonsai blog, you might be promoting art, peace, and culture. If you have a blog about fitness, then your mission statement might be helping people to lead a happier and healthier life, filled with new experiences and positive energy. Or it might be a place for iron warriors to toughen up and talk about weight training. These are two blogs in essentially similar niches, but they have very different tones and very different mission statements, which will define the kind of person that reads them and the way that the brand looks. Knowing your mission and making sure that this is present in everything you do is crucial for having a successful blog. Why? Because A, it will tell people instantly whether your blog is for them, and B, it will turn your blog into more than the sum of its parts. It will turn your blog into a movement and something that people can get passionate about, and that they can really follow. A note to consider at this point is that by creating your mission statement, you are going to be automatically alienating some of your potential visitors. Your blog can't appeal to everyone, and if it did, then it wouldn't be particularly interesting for anyone. Be prepared for this and embrace who you are and what you want to blog about. Don't try and appeal to everyone, or you will lose your edge and become generic. And in case you aren't convinced by what I've been saying up to this point in the training, I want you to stop and think about the top blogs that you read and the kinds of blogs that you would read. Chances are that each of them is promoting a lifestyle or a movement. Chances are that each of them is doing something interesting and new. Now imagine a blog called How to Get Fit that only ever posts articles with titles like Top 10 Pec Exercises or How to Lose Weight for Summer. Would you bother to read that? No, because it's derivative. You've read this stuff 1,000 times before, and you don't stand to learn anything new or interesting from it. So you won't read it. Generic blogs don't become top blogs. To succeed, you need to have real passion for what you're doing, and you need to be yourself. It may sound a little cheesy, but it really is true. Creating your logo. Okay, so now you've done all that strategizing, you're finally ready to start creating your logo. Your logo needs to be something that evokes the philosophy and the mission that you settled on. You need this to be something that people can look at and instantly know what your blog is all about. Of course, the name you choose for your blog is also going to play into this to a large extent. If you're having difficulty coming up with names and logos, then try writing down lots of words that relate to your niche and drawing lots of items relating to your niche. Take a look at all of them and see how you can combine them to create something interesting and unique to you. Likewise, consider some best practices for logo design. Firstly, your logo needs to be a vector file. That means it will be made in a tool like Illustrator, not Paint. This will mean that your logo can be changed to any size without losing any definition, and it means you'll be able to easily make edits without having to rub anything out. This is ideal if you want to create a black and white version of your logo in future to go on a product, or if you want to make a banner for some future advertising, for example. Other considerations include making sure that your logo is relatively simple, which again makes it easier for you to create various iterations, making sure your logo doesn't include any cliched elements, ticks, globes, or light bulbs, and choosing colors that will work with your site design and future design activities. If you aren't confident in how to go about this, then outsource this process. Come up with some ideas yourself, and then find a freelancer on freelancer.com, upwork.com, or 99designs.com. This way, you will get a much more professional-looking final product, and that's something that your customers and your visitors will be able to tell. Trust me, don't cobble something together that looks anything less than 100% professional. If there are any imperfections, don't accept it as complete. In fact, now is a good time to set out onto the web and to try and find yourself some inspiration and some competition. Find blogs that are similar to what you want to build and make a note of them. From now on, these top blogs are your competition, and they are the gold standard you are going to try and reach. Pay close attention to what they're doing and what you can emulate, and if there's anything that you feel they're doing better, work to get there. This sounds simple, but it's something a surprising number of bloggers just don't do. If you want to be a top blogger, then your website needs to be as good as that of any other top blogger. Subtle differences in quality make a big difference that your readers will feel. Building a top blog. This is a good time for us to discuss how you go about creating your top blog. We just discussed the importance of creating something that is every bit as professional as your inspiration for your logo. Now it's time to take the same approach to creating your own website. Again, it needs to look just as good as the best in your niche. Cut no corners and don't accept anything that anyone could consider to be unprofessional or amateur. The basics. Okay, so I'm not going to go into massive detail here about how to create a blog. It's really very easy to get detailed instructions on how to do things like signing up for a hosting account and setting up WordPress. So you don't need me to go over it in depth here. What I will say though, is that you need a hosting account, probably with a service like Bluehost. And you will probably want to use WordPress to create your site. WordPress is a site builder and content management system that will allow you to create new posts as easily as clicking post, and manage existing posts just as easily. What's more, is that you can completely change the look and feel of WordPress by installing new plugins and themes, and there's a huge, thriving community filled with people who will help you to come to grips with it, answer any questions you have, and build entirely new tools to help you out. This will be particularly important for us later on, because we're going to be using a lot of plugins in order to help us promote our site and grow it faster. WordPress now powers a third of the web, and is used in some of the biggest and most successful sites on the web, such as the BBC, Forbes, Mashable, Android Authority, the 4-Hour Blog, Smart Passive Income, and many others. In other words, it is a tried and tested commodity which removes a lot of the guesswork. We know that WordPress sites can be highly successful, and so when you use WordPress, you can rest assured that it's not the design or the code of the site that is holding you back. If you're not successful yet, then you need to concentrate on other aspects of your business rather than worrying about the way the site has been built. WordPress is also completely free and very easy to install. Through Bluehost's cPanel, you can actually install WordPress with a single click. This will make life much easier for you, so don't consider using any other strategy, which could ultimately waste your time and create more opportunity for things to go wrong. Creating your theme. Once you have WordPress installed, the next step is to choose a theme. The great thing about WordPress, as mentioned, is that you can install new themes very quickly. You can browse for themes through WordPress's own tool, but I don't recommend using any of these. Most of them are not terribly well designed, and what's more, is that they will be used on so many websites, so yours won't be unique. So instead, head over to a site like ThemeForest and be prepared to pay a bit for a professional-looking theme. This isn't going to be astronomical. We're talking in the realm of $30. But as we've already seen, a professional site is an absolute must if you want others to take your site seriously and get excited about it. Make sure to check the previews and pick something that is responsive, meaning it adapts to the shape and size of the screen looking at it, that is crisp and uses high-definition images, and that is relatively minimalist and not too overcrowded so it looks busy or complicated. Better yet is to pay a professional design company to build you a theme from scratch. But if you want to hold off, you can wait until your site has picked up some momentum before you go about doing this. Finally, you want to customize the theme yourself. This will start by using your logo in the header, and from there, you want to make sure that the colors of the rest of your site match that header. You might also want to think about implementing a different background, moving widgets around, choosing whether you want to add or keep the slider, etc. Think about the type of content you're going to be writing and whether the layout will be conducive to that. For instance, many themes are very image-focused, and this is particularly true if you choose a theme that has a slider, meaning it will rotate through large, crisp images that come from your blog post. This is great if you have a good camera, and if you like to make lots of high-quality images for your articles. But if you don't have the means of making or acquiring the images, then it can actually be a bad thing. So make sure that you only feature images heavily if you have the ways and means to make them. Top plugins for bloggers. Now your blog is up and running. so you can enhance its capabilities with some plugins. These are small programs that will add features to your site or to the control panel behind the scenes, thereby giving you more control over the content. There are some plugins that are essential, and others that can help a great deal when it comes to getting your site on the fast track to success. Here are some that you should consider installing. WordPress SEO by Yoast. WordPress SEO from Yoast is your one-stop shop for search optimization. It makes the process very easy. It's the one recommended by the most users and lets you control things like the title of the post as seen by spiders, as well as checking your keyword density and more. We'll talk a little more about SEO in future, but for now, this is a good start to get a little more love from Google. W3 Total Cache. W3 Total Cache can speed up your website by using caching. This means that certain images and other elements won't need to be loaded from scratch each time a visitor lands on your page. It's a useful strategy and might help to reduce your bounce rate by appeasing impatient viewers. Link Within. Link Within will place related posts at the bottom of each of your articles, that way giving your readers an easy way to find more of your content. This is a great way to keep people on your site, because they'll want to keep on reading and won't come to a dead end after they finish the post they're on. Akismet. One of the few downsides of WordPress is the way it can attract spam comments, which can in some cases make your life a constant process of deleting nonsense posts. Akismet is the best plugin out there for reducing that spam count, and can make every blogger and site owner's life considerably easier as a result. XML Sitemap. XML Sitemap is a great plugin that can help you to generate a sitemap for your blog with a single click. In turn, this will help Google to index your site and any new posts, so it's definitely worth an install. Jetpack. Jetpack is not just one plugin, but actually several that all comes from WordPress.com themselves. This includes site stats, for those without analytics, email subscriptions, social networking tools, and more. It comes pre-installed, and it's more than worth a couple of seconds of setup. AdSense Explosion. If you want to monetize your blog with AdSense but don't want to get too fiddly with it, then AdSense Explosion is an ideal choice, giving you just enough control while keeping things simple. It has had a few problems, but the support is good enough to make it the go-to AdSense plugin for many a blogger. Again, we'll talk about this more in future, but for now you can install this, add your own AdSense code if you have it, and start profiting right away. All-in-one favicon. All-in-one favicon is the simplest way to add a favicon to your site, that being the small image that comes up next to the title in the browser. This will make your site look more professional and increase your brand awareness in moments. Google Analytics. While Jetpack gives you some web stats, they pale in comparison to the in-depth nature of Google Analytics that will really allow you to see how your site is performing and hone it to perfection. This plugin means your site will be analytics ready with no hassle adding code to your pages manually. Google Typography. If you go with the pre-made WordPress theme, you're still going to want to edit it to make the design yours. Changing the typography is one important way to do this, and this plugin makes that simple. Go back and look at those top blogs in your niche again that I told you to note down. You'll notice that all of them have a very nice, crisp font that is easy to read. That's important because it's going to make people want to spend time on those sites. Styles. Styles allows you to easily change many more aspects of your WordPress theme right from the WordPress customizer. Disqus. Disqus is the best comment system for many reasons and will improve the look of your comment section as well as making it incredibly easy for users to post and for you to manage. This also creates a new way for people to discover your site through the Disqus community itself. Optimized Database. Optimized Database will help you to keep your database clean, thereby keeping your site sprightly and avoiding errors. WooCommerce. WooCommerce is one of the best and easiest ways for businesses to sell products directly from their site and thus monetize their blog. More on this later. The plugin is free, but payment gateway extensions will cost you a little, $25 to $75. iThemes Security, formerly known as Better WP Security. This is a plugin that provides numerous ways to further improve the security of your blog, an important consideration for any business. Bottom of every post. This is a plugin that allows you to add a section of code at the bottom of every post. Pretty simple. It's great because it's going to let us add our opt-in form later on, the way that people sign up to our mailing list. Shareaholic. This is one of several plugins that will allow your visitors to quickly and easily share your content on their social media pages. It's a quick way to get more likes on Facebook and tweets on Twitter, which in turn brings more visitors to your site. Instagram Widget by WP Zoom. This is going to place a feed with your Instagram pictures right into a widget, ideally on your homepage. This will allow people to see that you are active on Instagram and get a taste for the kind of content you share. That means more followers, and it means your site will look more active and interesting. Twigget Twitter Widget. In a similar vein, Twigget allows you to show your Twitter feed. This is great because it means people can see that you are active on social media and get a taste for the kind of content you create. In turn, that will mean that you can gain a lot more followers on there a lot more quickly. YouTube channel. YouTube channel from Alexander Yarosevich is a very powerful tool that will embed your YouTube videos into your sidebar, either your latest video or a random one. In a moment, we're going to discuss in depth why YouTube is such an important part of your business plan.